Check, check, check. Ooh, echo. Check, check, check. 1 2 1 2. Vader Games in the building. You know what it is. We are back. Another episode. Vader Games TV. Why Always Me. Episode 118. 118 of Why Always Me. And we're back. And you know what I got to do? First things first. First things first. My people comes first. My people, those that are here and those that are no longer here, thought of and always remembered. Um, I'm humbly here. We're gonna do a show. You see what's going on right now. All right, let me start. The topic of the day is obviously going to be this upcoming season. The fixture list came out. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that, but there's also all of this. There's all of this that I need to talk about. All right, and I got the timer up. I'm gonna spend 5 minutes. I'm gonna go topic through topic. If I happen to get some guests, I get some guests. It is what it is. But why always me? For those of you that are new to the channel, please subscribe. If you've been here before, you know what it is. I tend to kind of have like a little journal, a little diary, go through some of the things. I've had Why Always Be kind of like on the back burner for a while because of the great support that was happening with regards to CIA, the great support with the 115. But I got to get a few things off my chest because as much as I enjoy, don't get this wrong, as much as I enjoy being able to feature on other channels, you know, I'm American Waffle, do that every Monday or Tuesday, depending on the day. I'll link up with Vibes from the Six, link up with my man Egal and other panelists. I'm doing the thing with Sarcasm City TV with the Mandem. And then, you know what? There's those occasional invites, those occasional features where it'll be, how can I forget? Also, A-listers with Don Hussam. But then there's the occasional invites with the other channels, Judge Mo, Never a Foul. Who am I missing here? Tune Tactics. If I'm forgetting any, actually, I'm forgetting everyone outside of the City family. If I've forgotten you, my apologies. With regards to the City family, you know what it is, right? Mancunian Way, True City Fan, Pitch Points. The link up always happens. Professor Hamza Talks Football, right? So as much as I love being featured over there, but then at the same time, it's like, you got to play your role. You got to play your position. I get to kind of talk a little freely. I get to kind of expand on some topics that I don't really get a chance to. And then at the same time, I can't have the final word. Often you'll know when I got someone on the ropes, especially when it's the rivals, I'm featuring on the rivals and I got them. I don't get the final say. As much as I'm hurting them, they get the final say. So over here, it's a lot different. It's a lot different. Let me shout out the very first person in the comments when the show kicks off. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to know the show's going on. You're involved. You're helping with, obviously, being a part of the show with the comments, and then you're spreading the love. Today in the mix, the first person to drop a comment, say that they're messing with me, despite the comment. TJ, good looking out. If you haven't subscribed over at TJ Warren TV, the man goes, the gas coming from Canada. That's funny from an American because we are a willing and good partner with regards to the U.S. We do provide a lot of our natural resources to help with how the U.S. are able to manage their energy needs and some of those, and it's a good working relationship. So yeah, the gas out of Canada is needed. TJ is needed. Also, good looking out to my man Abdallah. He goes, "What's Vader, my guy? Hope you're well in the family." Hey, family's good. Family's good. Here we go. Troy. Words. That's all the man can say. Words. I've heard some nasty play on his words. I'm not one to really bash a person's last name. First names, go at it, but last name, hey, I find that a little disrespectful when you kind of manipulate a person's last name. But some of the ones that I've heard from words is wild. Paul in the building. He goes, "Hail up, hey man, listen, thank you so very much. We got a good show going on." And I'm gonna start the clock. You're gonna see. I'm gonna start the clock. I'm gonna stay on point, and you guys will be able to follow along. If you happen to be joining late, hey, just know when the video's over, you can go back and catch it. If you're here, hit that like button. The like button helps other people know that the channel's actually live and kicking. Don't forget LL. This guy. All right, here we go. I do have the Kango hat. You know what I mean? Bucket hat. Now, let me get the clock going. Let me also review. Actually, before I do that, let me review the topics for those of you that tend to listen, because I know that happens, right? You're there on the drive, you're multitasking, you're getting things done. You're not always looking at the screen. You got to hear things. So let me say it out loud for everyone to kind of hear and know. The topics I'm going to go through today, the very first one, I'm going to devote 5 minutes on it. Club World Cup. And it as a great addition. All right. That's obviously my opinion. I'm going to be sharing why I think the Club World Cup is a great addition in terms of the number of competitions that players have to commit to and what has been organized over the years, right? Real Madrid, PSG, Porto, challenged. I'm being nice, challenged. All right, right. But some of those, some took losses, some took a draw. We're going to talk about that in the Club World Cup. And again, this gets underplayed. This doesn't really get talked up because if you talk it up, you're quote unquote talking down to other managers. Now, I don't look at it that way. I just think they're different eras, but many will want to bring up other eras of other managers to kind of diminish our manager, my manager, and Pep. Pep is managing in the toughest era of competition, and I'm going to discuss that. This isn't me gassing. All right, TJ, this isn't me gassing. This isn't me being fraudulent. Factually, when you look at the number of competitions, you look at the number of hours asked of a player, the number of days, right? Pep is managing players in the toughest era of competition that's demanded on players. He's also managing in an era where there's a lot more competition. There's a lot more clubs out there that have the financial means to compete at a high level. There's a lot of more accessibility with regards to the sport in itself, right? More kids are able to play the game. More are playing the game, men's and women, right? So just that in itself, we can't argue this. We can't argue this. But Pep is managing in the toughest era of competition, and we're going to discuss that. Rico Lewis, I did not think that was a red card. I'm going to do my best to kind of put that up and maybe break that down on the screen. YouTube, do not copy strike me. It's strictly for learning, educational purposes, review purposes. So I'm going to be doing that. And this topic, I don't even think, to be honest with you, I think I'm going to need more than 5 minutes. I think I'm going to need more than 5 minutes to really break down, because no, I haven't heard it anywhere else, right? You're hearing it here first. Liverpool without Klopp are even more dangerous. Liverpool without Klopp are serious in terms of how threatening they are to the Prem in terms of winning it, and how threatening they are with regards to Champions League. And not just one-offs. This is like long-term competition or dominance. And the dominance, I'm going to go into great detail. If you see, subscribe to the channel, but on CIA, Sit at Intelligent Agendas, I'm going to get panel members, and we're really going to have to talk about this threat that Liverpool are doing. And we're going to go deep into it with regards to the signings, with regards to the players that they're letting go, with regards to the power moves. But this Liverpool, again, it's not being discussed, but it needs to be, right? This Liverpool are a lot more dangerous without Klopp. A lot more. And we're going to have to discuss it. Also, someone will take you this shot. Maybe TJ was like, listen, all this gas coming out of Canada because he didn't like the last topic, right? TJ is an Arsenal fan. TJ Warren TV, go and subscribe. But this guy probably didn't like this last topic. But it's so accurate. It is so accurate. And it's almost something you can kind of have a blanket statement for many clubs in London. But when there's no expectations, we've seen Arsenal be their most threatening. We've seen Arsenal just be a couple games away from actually winning this league. And I think on how things are actually positioned right now, we look at the transfer window, we look at what the major conversations are. We're going to have to get into Arsenal and the expectation that they don't have, and why I think it's going to be threatening. Thank you, each and every one of you in the comments. Good looking out. My man, Andrew in the building goes, big up Vader. Slot is cooking. Slot's got the ingredients. And he's looking to be cooking something up. I can't ignore it. He also goes on to say, need a striker. I want to dominate like City and United. Listen, I'm going to discuss it on CIA in great depth, and we're going to touch on it today. But yeah, you guys are making moves to do that. Can't lie. Paul, based on Slot's first year, was Klopp overrated? Yes. Yes. And we'll Paul, yeah, let me start that. We'll get into it. So I got to do this proper. Let me do this properly. Let me also go here and let me do this. All right. Did you guys hear that? Hold on. I didn't have my headphones on. Let me make sure that's clean. No, I got to edit something. Hold on. Okay, that's not good. You guys aren't hearing that. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. In the comments, let me know if you heard what I just did. All right. One second, guys. Audio. Virtual. Okay. That should be good. Andrew, Paul, if you guys are in the chat, let me know if you're hearing a sound. Let me know if you're hearing that sound. And then I want to do. No, you're not. Damn. How did I mess this up? Okay, let me try again. Now tell me if you heard that. Tell me if you're hearing gunshots. Are you hearing gunshots? Okay, big ups. All right, we got that. Thank you. Good looking out, Andrew. Boom. Good looking out. We back. Little small technical difficulties. We got that all fixed up. Let's do it properly because I want to get the clock going, and the clock is over here. Bless. You guys are amazing. All right, we're gonna start the clock and we're gonna do it clean. All right, we back. Sounds good. Danny in the building. I see you just in time. Now, the Club World Cup, guys. This edition makes of everything that they've kind of added. And again, I know this is with regards to FIFA and there's UEFA and all that kind of stuff, right? But the fact that we obviously have UEFA Champions League, you got the champions pretty much of Europe playing. Needed, right? Happens every year. I get it. Everyone else within their respective regions, they have their competitions. To bring this together, the Club World Cup, and it's obviously of many regions. You got representing from South America, you got representing from North America, MLS, and all that kind of stuff, and then obviously with Europe, teams from the Saudi League as well. I think that this is absolutely amazing because it's the World Cup, but for clubs, right? I love it. I also like that it's a change up from it being like oversaturated, like done too often. For it happening every 4 years, it gives that added like, we want to see our club do it, right? There's that actual incentive to go after it. If your team's going to be putting in extra games, if your players aren't going to get that normal rest, if you're doing all that, it's got to be worth something. And I think that's where FIFA got it right. They got it right because this is worth something because it's a rarity. It's only going to happen for years. And I think they're so smart. They're so smart with regards to that. I think when we also look at the toll in terms of the number of games played per player, per athlete, this fits into how players have kind of managed international play, how they've had to manage like World Cup in previous years in terms of club and additional commitments. Mind you, I know this is club, it's not anything international. But I think FIFA got it right here. Now, everyone that's bashing the Club World Cup, listen and take a look on who's doing the most bashing. Those doing the most bashing aren't in it. Those that are on the outside, looking in because they didn't get that invite are the ones talking this down so much. The ones saying that this isn't, this really isn't worth the fuss. This doesn't mean anything. Trust me, they'd be talking differently if they were involved in it. I think it's also something that's really understanding because it's going to have its growing pains. It's the first season, inaugural season, so not everything's going to be perfect. Any of you that have, you've tuned into, to a new TV series, right? That pilot first 2 episodes, it's kind of rough. You're kind of finding the groove. Same thing. It's the same thing. Just even with regards to like any artist, with regards to performance, those first few shows, whether it's acting or singing, it takes a while to get in the groove. I really like what the Club World Cup's doing. I like the different intros, the player intros in terms of individual focus. Yes, there's a knock on having the games played at so many different venues. That's a challenge in itself. But the U.S. population is it's huge. It's tremendous. Okay. And I think there's so much appeal, so much love for the game that they place their bets in terms of having it, on different coasts within US. But the interest is there. The size of the country is huge, and I think it caters to a lot more with it being spread out. I'm gonna get to the comments. Thank you all so very much. I also think it's also worth this edition in terms of trying some things new, whether they work or not. Let's try it, see how the response is, and if it doesn't, we move on to the side. We try something else, right? That is actually something that is it's at the forefront of a lot of North American sports. It's like, and it's not a hate on tradition, but it's like, it's just trying to have the finger on a pulse of innovation, always trying to do something new. So I like what this means. Whether it's going to spill over to other aspects of football in the world, who knows? But this Club World Cup has been excellent. And I think that it is going to be so well reported on, so well reviewed when it's all done. These first few games, they're group stage games. They don't really matter. They don't really matter in terms of like, oh, where's the jeopardy? However, and I'm going to move on to the next topic. However, this group stage is very interesting when you look at who's competing and when you look at what's happening with regards to some of the results. Let me do this. And thank you each and every one of you. Before I move on to the next topic, I want to let me get to the comments. Get into this flow. Andrew goes, name a manager who got 10 trophies in 9 years apart from Pep last 20 years. Yeah, no one needs last 9 years. Or probably no one other than I don't even think Ancelotti's in there. I don't even think Conte's in there. Could that be it? In terms of the last 9 years? Probably. No, Klopp did his thing, but the question with regards to being overrated is look at how poor the last couple seasons were and look how dominant Liverpool were last year. I think that's why the challengers of Klopp being questioned or being considered overrated. Danny goes, price money for the Club World Cup is also great. The prize money is amazing. The ticket prices had to get adjusted, and again, growing pains, trying to figure out what the right balance is. The football crowd, this is what they're willing to spend for some of these group stage games, right? Figuring all that out. They're finding the right balance. My man, Mancunian Way, Martin in the building. He goes, good afternoon, mate. I would join, but I'm unavailable. No worries today. Oh, no worries. No worries. Obviously, no, do what you got to do, man. But appreciate you sitting and listening. Shout you out. If you haven't subscribed over at the Mancunian Way, please go do so. There's going to be a lot more link ups between him and myself and True City Fan as the summer continues and definitely when the league kicks in. True City Fan is doing this full time. So if you haven't subscribed, please go do so. Show him some love, and in the comments say I'm here because of Vader if you can. But show the man some love. He's doing YouTube full time. Paul goes, I don't understand how Chelsea is in and Barca and Liverpool not there. Listen, Paul, it's timing. They had a certain window in terms of like who was in Champions League, either winning it or I think runner-ups within a certain window. I think that's how, as well as I'm just speaking specifically with regards to Chelsea, Barcelona, and Liverpool. And I think that was what filtered out who attended when. Another thing is Liverpool's window. Actually, no, now that you say that, because Liverpool finished second. Liverpool finished second. No, because Chelsea won it. I think it's because of Chelsea's win. That's why. But I need to go back over the rules. It's one of those where it's like it emphasizes, this is going to emphasize you being consistent to be within the window of selection, right? And to be honest with you, don't take this as a slight, but I think you guys have an advantage not being in the Club World Cup. I really do. I like when we look at like even this fixture list, we look at what the fixture list is going to mean. We look at what the Champions League is going to mean. We look at all obviously the domestic cups that we can make runs on. You guys have these less games to not on your legs. You have these less games to not potentially have like, muscle injuries or impact injuries. Like it's, yeah, I think it's advantage Liverpool, to be honest with you. Andrew goes, actually, you know what? I should have started the comments before I started this. Andrew goes, I am glad I'm not in it. Get a whole summer to rest. Exactly. Even if we wasn't, it couldn't care less. Andrew, I think that's a little bit of copium. If you were in it, you would care. You can't help it. You can't help yourself. I'm telling you, like, you may not have a huge emphasis, but the further you get in the tournament, you're gonna care. Let me start this. So Andrew also goes on to say, big up Martin, hope you're feeling better. Yeah, absolutely. Cheers, love in the mix. What's he saying here? Let me see this. Andrew goes, it went downhill when Pep and Klopp pushed out Edwards and killed half of his squad every year. He was rebuilding Liverpool like managers before Bob Paisley. Okay, Andrew, brilliant. You're stealing a little bit of my sunshine when I talk about Liverpool without Klopp, because Liverpool without Klopp are looking dangerous. But imagine if that tandem you talked about, like, Pep and Klopp, and when you say Pep, you mean Linders, but the fact that Linders and Klopp, if they weren't able to push out Hughes and Edwards, different story, right? Different story that we're looking at. So yeah, I'm gonna get into that. Trust me. Now, let me talk about this, and let me do this cleanly as well. So now, when you guys say these games don't really matter, who's really paying attention to Club World Cup? These teams aren't taking it serious. They're taking it serious. They are taking it serious. Real Madrid, new manager, right? Oh, the hype, new manager, the hype. Trent 12. Hey, he's no longer Trent Alexander-Arnold. Trent 12. All these new moves, right? All these new happenings over at Real Madrid. They care about this tournament. They care about what the Real Madrid brand is in terms of they win cup competitions. You got PSG just coming off winning their treble, right? Winning their Champions League not too long ago. demolishing, embarrassing, almost like wiping out any type of kind of pride and chest that Inter fans had with that slapping that they gave them in the Champions League final. But you got Real Madrid, you got PSG, and you got Porto, who are in this competition, have a legacy, have heritage, have a brand, and suffered draws or losses to lesser competition. And I'm not being disrespectful in terms of calling them lesser competition. They're lesser competitions. It's like it happens, right? There's always going to be a 1 and 2. There's going to be a stronger opponent. That's natural, but it's competition, so anything goes. You can somewhat be outmatched, but maybe you're not outthought, right? You can maybe be like outmatched, but you're not outfought. Like things like that happen within the game. And when we saw Real Madrid taking that draw, absolutely brilliant. When we saw PSG suffering that loss, and best believe there was a portion, I'm talking to the Manchester City fans. There's a portion of the Manchester City fans that were like, oh, praising everything Enrique was doing, oh, praising what PSG have done over the years, praising their style of football. Yes, when you're on a run, you get those praises, deserving. But there's also, which happens, and when we talk about competition, there's also everybody, absolutely everybody struggles to break down a low block. Everybody. If your opponent scores early and they're willing to just bunker down and say, I ain't moving. I'm only worried if you're inside this 18-yard box. I'm going to camp out right here. So when a team does that, everyone's going to find it difficult to break down. PSG obviously tried their best. I think many City fans that were talking about Enrique this, talking about PSG this, look at what they were trying to do to break down this low block and how difficult it is. And then kind of take that understanding and recognize that when you have the brilliant manager in terms of Pep, it's still something difficult to do. But they got that result. And then Porto, oh my goodness. The whole GOAT debate continues on for different reasons, right? You got you'll have any reason for the CR7 fans to then go after the Messi fans and vice versa. But the Porto loss, absolutely brilliant. I think the challenges in this Club World Cup bring so many different narratives, so many different storylines, and it brings a curiosity, right? Because maybe, yes, you won't sit down and watch the entire 90 minutes unless it's your team. But when you hear some of these odd results, just like when we watched the World Cup, right? When one of the nations happen to win or get a draw and is unexpected, then you got to watch the rest of this group stage because everything's wide open. So many permutations, so many possibilities on who might advance. So it was great to watch. I'm thinking that when it comes down to obviously the final games of the group stage, that is when you're going to see a tick. You're going to see a high tick in terms of like the whole viewership and the engagements that you're going to see online, even with regards to the coverage. There's not many that are necessarily doing those post-match breakdowns or even the watch-alongs, but I think that's going to increase with the importance of it. And trust me, every club wants to be the first. Every club wants to be the first to win this because it's going to be 4 years. It's going to be 4 years until you're challenged for it again. So absolutely incredible. Let me go to the comments real quick. And I know I'm a little behind, but I forgot to mention. Sorry. In addition to True City fan Patrick, we also got Martin Mancuniway doing full time with regards to the channel. Help him continue to get the numbers up with regards to views, with regards to likes, and share it. Share it. This is the funny. Let me share something. Sometimes sharing or even clipping up a moment within a show and then sharing that because you're like, hey, what did you think of this, does so much. And or even if it's a blooper, even if you're sharing, can you believe what Martin just said? Can you believe what Patrick just said? Like, oh, he just mentioned Gibbs White as the GOAT. Like little things like that. Clip it up, show the jokes around, share the love, and see the interactions. It's always appreciated. But Martin, yeah, he is full time as well. Let me see where we at here. We got Dudley in the building. Good looking out. Club World Cup. The heat's affecting. The humidity's different. The humidity is different. I myself, let me see. On myself, Caribbean background, I love the heat. All kinds of heat, dry heat, humid heat. I love it. It it just, I don't know. For me, the energy's there, and I just feel healthier. The sun does something to me. So the players that are dealing with this humidity, I know it's a challenge, but then you got to see who's got the better fitness. And then it's also the challenge on the manager on how he rotates, how he game plans. You know, maybe sometimes when you try to outrun teams, you wait until the latter stages of the team of the game to try to outrun them. Maybe not something you do from the very beginning. But yeah, the heat is tough. The heat is tough. Oh, sorry. Andrew goes, haha, I always said he underachieved. Andrew's going back to the Klopp conversation that Klopp underachieved, and many would agree. I would agree with you that he did underachieve while over there. Now, let me make sure this is nice and clean. I'm gonna do this, and I'm doing my best to stay caught up with the comments. So thank you, each and every one of you. All right, so we're gonna get into the next one, and we've got. Don't take this as hate, people. Don't take this as hate. Don't take this as me bashing on whoever your manager is, or whatever era of football you fell in love with, or who you consider the GOAT or the best. But we can't deny anything here. Those of you listening and not necessarily watching, I'm talking about Pep managers, and not just Pep, managers in this era, currently in this very era. They're dealing with players that are influenced by all of the social platforms, right? TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, all of that, right? You're dealing with even the increase with regards to scrutiny that's happening in even the traditional media, right? What would happen in print, what would happen on TV. But then we also got the fixtures. We've got the number of fixtures, and I'm going to do my homework. This is something that would actually be done on CIA because we get into the details at CIA. But this is something where I'm going to go and actually see what were the number of games that a player would be expected to play in, let's say in 2012, 2013. How different is that of today, right? So maybe we do a World Cup block. We do from World Cup to World Cup back then, and then we'll do a cycle of now, World Cup to World Cup, and see the number of games. That is all additional challenges and pressures and things that a manager now has to deal with that is very different from back then. We also have, and I see you guys in the comments, we also have to, and we can't ignore when we have the likes and we have the breakdowns, and many have done it, on how much money's in the sport now, right? Now you've got Saudi Arabia owners. Now you've got the chance of Qatari owners. You have the chance of it, not just yet, but then you have the likes of, which weren't back then, but the money that's now in the sport, Aston Villa, Newcastle, you got, yes, they make a ton of money, maybe they don't spend it, but you got Spurs, you got Arsenal, Liverpool, you got Chelsea, still have United with dual ownership now. You have the likes in terms of, again, they have to build things up because they've added this whole PSR that doesn't quite allow these clubs to spend like they want to. But just in the Prem alone, the competition is so much fiercer. It's not four or five clubs. It's a lot more than that. Apologies, I got this call. It might be. My apologies on that one. But you got so many clubs that have the means. This competition's fierce. This is a manager, and managers within this era. It's a lot more intense. There's a lot more demanded of these players, and I just want to emphasize that it's never to slight, because obviously back then had its own problems, but I gotta admire and I gotta recognize how my manager is navigating in today's football, right? And if I want to do the whole take shots thing, I can do that at another time. But I'm being very factual. I'm being very to the T with regards to number of games played, number of commitments required of these players. Actually, I need to move my camera so I'm not in front of the timer. But we got to address all of that. I see you in the comments, and I'm gonna get to you. Trust me. So Paul goes, City love Pep so much they went and got another one. Listen, Pep squared, Pep times two. The Pep talks are going to be insane. Um, but the demand on these players is very different, and I recognize how difficult my manager is or has, and also not it's not his fault, and no one's saying that he should get extra kudos for this. But remember when managers dealt with whatever difficulties, scrutinies were happening at the same time. Club wise, I can't ignore how incredibly dialed in my manager's been with the great cloud that's hanging over us. And I'm waiting every day. I'm waiting for an announcement. I just want clarity. I just want things said. More recently, we just got fined. We accepted the punishment of our delayed starts, right? Second half of games are delayed starts, minute plus 2 minutes here and there. All that added up to $1,200,000, I believe. $1,200,000, maybe $1,600,000. Like when I say $1,600,000, like 1.2 or 1.6, something like that. Forgive me with the number, but that is a lot. Those are so just the scrutiny alone with regards to City. I give tremendous credit to Pep and how he's got to manage this level of football. Competitions increase worldwide. Number of clubs that have the means to spend different, absolutely different. Let me go to the comments. Andrew goes, remember Pep has never gone 2 seasons without the league, so pressure on Slot and Pep, will that record be broken? Pep's he's never gone 2 seasons without winning the league. He's also never stayed at any club longer than he has at City. It's different pressure because there's legacy pressure, like Pep himself motivated because he's a serial winner. He's going to be motivated to get back to winning the Prem. Absolutely. The funny thing is, it's different pressure on Liverpool. 1 second. Apologies. So when it comes down to like legacy now, there's Pep's legacy to try and obviously win the Prem, not go 2 years without it. But then there's the legacy building pressure that Slot has because yes, Liverpool have won back-to-back titles before, but they haven't done it in the Prem. They haven't done it in the Prem era. And when I talked about how different the Prem era is because of everything, everything is magnified, right? Like good news, bad news, it spreads like wildfire. It gets out there. So if Liverpool, as much support as they have worldwide and their fan base and if they were to win back to back, it's different. It's different, and it's not something that I can't diminish. It doesn't get talked about in terms of as it should because again we're not media darlings, but how we've gone back to back and how we ended up doing that a three-peat, how that ended up being a four-peat, that's a madness. If Liverpool do back to back is all right. My apologies. So there's different legacies that are battling it out right now, and we need this. We need this, and we have to for again. I've said this before, but for the greater good, for the balance of football, for the sake of football out there, we have to do the football God's work, and we can't allow Liverpool, Andrew. We can't allow Liverpool to win back to back. We can't do it. We can't do it. It's going to be a madness. But you guys are making moves, and I'm going to get to it later in the show. You guys are making moves to actually want to dominate and get this back to back. So we'll get into it. Let me move this. And I got to try and make sure I can find the proper, because I want to do the breakdown. Actually, let me do that on the fly. So I'm going to shut this down. Thank you for the comments. Please continue to share them. Please continue to share those comments. Let me look over here and do this. I should have had this ready for you guys beforehand, but I want to do the Rico Lewis breakdown, right? Because it can't just be me. It can't just be me with regards to that slide tackle. It honestly can't. Like, oh wait, maybe this is better. Oh damn, no, that's not better. You know what? They might not let me do it. They meant, oh, okay, hold on. All right, let me. Oh, that was showing up on screen? My bad. Let me do this. Okay, I gotta edit this. All right. You guys are incredibly patient, and it's very much appreciated. I'm gonna move this. All right. The beauty about it is, because, and I'm talking out loud, YouTube, do not copy strike me, but because this is not of its original size, because it only takes up so much of the window on screen, and also because there is no audio, there shouldn't be any issues with regards to the breakdown that I'm providing here. So let me, all right. Let me try it. Oh, are they actually going to let me? Hold on. Okay, let me put this on screen here. This is strictly for learning purposes. Will they show the tackle? They won't let me show the tackle. They won't let me show the tackle. Damn them. They won't let me show the tackle. That's trash. That's trash. All right. Okay, maybe. All right, hold on. Let me do this. Now, I can't show this. All right. Unfortunately, I cannot show this, but I will describe it. Okay. I'll do my best to describe it, because this is the aftermath with regards to the game. But loose, balls loose on the ground. Rico goes to get to it before the attacking player, goes to ground, slides, clearly makes contact with the ball, as he clears it out. The attacking player is going to ground as well to try to get to the ball, but gets there after Rico. Rico clears it. As he clears it, feet are still down. They're not raised high. They make contact with the player that's gone low as well and hits the player at his chest. The player acts it up, I didn't even start the clock. The player acts it up and makes it seem like there was contact with his face. Okay, he acts it up like there's contact with his face, and I'm not upset with that because as a player, you're trying to do as much as you can for your team. But Rico did not go in recklessly. Rico did not go in to try and make that contact. He played the ball. The ref, and he's clearly, because if you've seen the World Cup coverage, the ref has the body cam, right? The ref is able to see all that. And that's what I wanted to show you guys. I want to show you the body cam version of what happened on what he was able to see, but he's also getting word from his ear. And I think it's the word in his ear on why he goes and gives him that red. I didn't think it was a red card. I also am not using that red card to then kill Rico Lewis, which I'm seeing, unfortunately, too many Manchester City fans do. Too many City fans are talking about Rico. He's not equipped to play that right back. He's not good enough to play for us. Again, I think Rico's playing out of position. He's not a right back. He's a midfielder. Okay, we've seen him when he does invert and when he is in those pockets, he's good. He is very good. But when he has to, and this is a challenge with every player, Liverpool fans that are in the comments, when they've asked Trent to play right back and then invert, there's more responsibility in terms of the ground that either you need to cover or teammates needs to cover. And I think that, again, this is kind of like our preseason. I think we're a little off in how well we defended with Rico kind of going inverted. And I think he needs to do a better job in terms of recognizing when there's no danger and he can do it, and when maybe there's a hint of danger and he needs to kind of drop back. But it was not a red. So now, correct me if I'm wrong, I need to watch the game again, because I don't know if he was served a yellow and then on reflection given a red. So how long he's out is going to hurt him, because I think these would be the games that he would play in. I think these would be the games early they'd be playing. The latter stages, I don't think so. I just saw my gal. I just saw my gal in the stream right now. So if you know this, when my gal's in the stream, I gotta pause everything. I gotta say thank you. I also got to recognize and remind everyone, if you haven't hit that like button, please do so. But she deserves a pause within the game, within the show, for me to be like, Rose, what up? Good looking out. Thank you so very much. She goes, hey, Vader, I just happened upon your stream. No notifications. However, good to be here. Rose, the fact that something worked for you to be here and you didn't get the notifications, it was meant to be. Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for commenting as well. Everybody in the building, thank you so very much. What's Paul saying? Paul goes, fun exercise. Do a Liverpool City combined 11 based on their present squads. Include new signings. That is good, Paul. That is good. I'm gonna star that. That's a good 115 show, because I think we can kind of bang that out and have a good conversation. Daniel in the building, he goes, big up Vader. Dudley, 2.3 mil. Are you saying 2.3 mil? That's not the fine. The fine was not 2.3 mil. Is that what you're the 2.3 mil for? Please, that is a shakedown. That is a shakedown. Mark goes, evening Vader, hope you're well, mate. Great show. Thank you so very much. Good looking out, Mark. I'm trying to get whether I'm correct on the fine. If it's 2.3, damn. 2.3. Damn, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of late starts. I was a little cheeky. I was a little cheeky on Twitter X, where I kind of did a GIF, or maybe it was a meme of like brown envelope and like sliding the money, like one of those. Like, is this one of those, you will fine us for all these? And it's kind of like, here you go, guys. Like, if you've seen any like classic mafia hood movies, dirty cop movies, like, hey, it's just the life. It's the life in the streets. Sometimes you just gotta grease officials or some of the cops to just let the world be the world. So yeah, 2.3. Damn, that's a lot. Andrew goes, same challenge as Jones versus Spurs, both slipped. Andrew's on one today. Now, I think Rico was done dirty. I think he was done dirty. I do like his cut. I do like the cut. He reduced the hair down a little bit. He does look stronger. Looked at his physique. You know what I mean? I think he's gotten under that squat rack. Leg strength is there, and that's been his biggest challenge. He's not an undersized. He's not an undersized man. All right. Like I said, he's maybe a half an inch, a couple centimeters shorter than Zabaleta, and we know the beast. We know how hard Zabaleta played, and I think Rico can get there. He's just not a natural right back, and that's a challenge. Pep wants his creativity, and he wants his vision, and I don't want to say that he's forcing him on the pitch, but I think he sees where he can utilize him. Not like, again, he wasn't forcing Delph. Fabian Delph wasn't forced onto the pitch, but he saw versatility and saw something that he could do. Don C in the building. He goes, big up Vader, my brother. Good looking out, my guy. It is going to be one of those years. My time just ran up on talking Rico Lewis and that red card, which was not a red card. I think he was done dirty, harsh. He went in for the ball, got the ball first. Player made it a lot more dramatic, and as a result, it is a red card. I'm going to find good footage because I do want to do a proper still-by-still breakdown. But you can tell, like, he got up. How? Like, was he... Is the red because he should have went in for that tackle and should have curled up and not even extend? Like, then he's putting... I don't know how they do that. One game for Rico Lewis. You're right, Rose. Don C saying big up to Martin. Or he says big up to me, and also big up everybody in the chat. Paul Vader, if Pep should leave now. Wait, Paul. Leave now. Like leave right now? He signed a contract extension 2 more years. Like why would he leave now? No. Okay. All right. Let me see what you got to say. If Pep should leave now and you can get any manager currently in the Premier League, who would you want? Any manager. If I could get any manager right now, you guys are going to hate this answer. It would be Arteta. As much as like Manchester City fans want to kill him because obviously he's playing for Arsenal, I think the influence of what everything City is on Arteta, I think he gets it done. For me, hear me out. I've seen him progress as a manager. I'm not going to ignore what he did when he first arrived at Arsenal, 8th, 5th, but that's experience you need to gain. Those are mistakes that you need to have. So if he were to come into this City now, the experience that he's now acquired over at Arsenal, and he's here, I would take Arteta. Now, hold on, Paul, the reason why it would be over Eddie Howe is because both good managers, don't get me wrong. Eddie Howe, I think one could say, has done more with less with regards to the club. But when I look at how both managers managed being in multiple competitions, Champions League in particular, I do prefer Arteta in that regard. But again, you got Eddie Howe. I wouldn't be upset with. You got Unai Emery. I wouldn't be upset with, like, experience. So yeah, kill me if you think I'm wild with this one. But yeah, I would take Arteta. Jones got ball first, but slipped over the top. Yeah, over the top, because, and that's the challenge when you're over the top. Your cleats are up. You know what I mean? So yeah. And then you stud the leg. It's a scary one. But yeah, I would take Arteta. You guys can kill me and when I talk, people think I talk up of Arteta. It's just because there's growth in people. Like I don't label a person based off of first impressions. That's not me. The man's been in the league for for a minute now, and he's improved. One could say he's improved every year. So let me move this on. This topic's gonna be this one's gonna be a tough one. Let me take this off screen as well. Let me close this out. Now, let's get into it. This is gonna be a nice one. This is gonna be a nice one. Hopefully, you guys are here for the honesty. I hope you guys are here for the honesty. All right. I hope you guys hear me out with regards to this. Let me do this actually. So we've seen Liverpool peak of powers, right? Peak powers, we would say winning the Champions League the year after when they would go on to challenge and then win the league, right? You want to talk about who was all involved, backroom staff as well as manager. I think what we can't ignore is having that run. And Liverpool fans, I don't begrudge you. I'm not upset with you. I get it. When your manager's there, you back your manager. When the manager's there and you prefer the manager than the owners, you talk high up, you talk up the manager, you talk down the owners. But what's being clear, and this is why time is perfect. Time is beautiful. You need time teaches. With more time that's passed, we've realized, hey, it wasn't FSG and the nerds on the keyboards or the laptops, right? Some of the things that were preventing Liverpool from actually going on, some of the things that were hindering them was the manager. And earlier in the show, in the conversation was like, was Klopp underachieving? Was he overrated? And to see what a manager is not supposed to, okay? They're not supposed to win the league. When they do, it's amazing, it's brilliant. But a manager is not supposed to come in rookie season and win the league. Yes, I know it's happened. Pellegrini did it his first year. He actually won that in the League Cup, and so it's more than slot. But a manager is not supposed to do that, and also not as comfortably, not as convincingly as he was able to do it. I think Klopp is getting exposed for some of the signings that many Liverpool fans are upset with, like Darwin Núñez would have never been an Edwards or Hughes signing, right? For everything that we're seeing right now, the moves that Liverpool are trying to make, and this is gonna add platinums over here. The moves that Liverpool are trying to make are gonna add platinums because they're going out for the big ticket, big price players. Klopp made it a point to say, I will never spend blah, blah, blah price tag on a player. And what are Liverpool about to do? They've already gotten words, record. There are already strong rumors to go after Isak. Again, big spending. So these are things that never happened under Klopp. And I think, and I truly mean this. I'm not trying to do any type of gas. I'm not trying to be extra with it. I really do believe that Liverpool without Klopp are way more dangerous than they were with him. And I think this is like a club that's learned from past mistakes, a club that's realized, okay, yeah, we stuck with the manager. Here's where we're at. Here's what we have to deal with. We let some, again, nerds, we let some of the thinkers go. And now they've kind of come back and you see what's happening here. I think FSG, I think Liverpool fans are recognizing like what prevented Liverpool from dominating was the manager. The manager talking about underdogs, right? The manager talking about, I cannot compete. There's only so many clubs. Like there were countless press conferences where you just talked that down, like giving excuses for the club. But I think that's also him on how he saw things. Now that he's gone, it really doesn't make sense why they now have this money. They've always had this money, but you need to be in unison. You need to be walking in step. And I think the manager is like, yeah, this slot manager that's now arrived, he's like, yeah, bring me these players. I can manage these egos or these relationships. I got I got no extending loyalty in that regard. He obviously, I'm not. Slot will be good to the players. We don't see anything otherwise, right? He hasn't crashed it on any players, but he's like, bring me the talent, I'll manage the rest. And I think if Liverpool, and we're going to talk about this on CIA, if Liverpool continue with this aggressiveness, and I'm a nerd out with the other panelists, but if because they got Kirkez, I believe that's all locked up or happened as of today. The Verts, I think, again, locked up. That's all done. Frimpong, locked up, all done. The chance at Isak is wild. Is wild. Also strengthening its center back, which is kind of like the latest news in Gay. Like, I think Liverpool always had the means to do this, but you had to be in agreement with the manager. Nothing is just done and you tell the manager deal with it. You're throwing ideas back and forth. Like, hey, I think this is going to be this is looking like a Liverpool that really want to dominate. And want to dominate with no excuses. Want to dominate and say, so what? We bought so-and-so players. So what? We broke a record. Like the same things that they were quick to kind of throw onto the rivals. And I get it. Hey, I get it. You'll say one thing when you're dealing with it, or you'll say one thing towards the rivals and you'll spin it, your media darlings, when it's happening to you. Them going out and buying Wirtz, them the chance at going out and getting Isak is absolutely insane. And it speaks to like, they want this back to back. They want multiple trophies within a season. Let me get to the comments because they are looking very dangerous. Very dangerous. Andrew asked me, do you think this Arsenal Klopp season 2020 with dropping off? Do I think this Arsenal Klopp season 2020 with dropping off? I'm not too sure what you mean. I think this is an Arsenal. Like Arsenal are going to drop off? I don't think Arsenal are going anywhere. I don't think, and I definitely don't think Liverpool are going anywhere. The reason why I don't think Arsenal are going anywhere, and I'll get to it in the next topic not too long ago, is because when they're able to like this is the radar, when they're able to go under the radar, for those of you just listening and not watching, I just put my hands up. If Liverpool are able to go under the radar where there's no expectations or no, oh, you just signed so and so, you just signed a record signing it. Like if they just have like quote unquote, oh, second options, or no one was really interested and they've acquired players. Arteta has shown that he can get a tune out of these players. Like, right? They talked down on how at the time when they got Jesus, at the time when they got Kai Havertz, right? I think Arteta with no expectations, just like, oh, everyone's saying it's a Liverpool City season. I think that's Arsenal not dropping off, in my opinion. Andrew goes, FSG like the club to run itself and buy mode. Yeah, listen, Andrew. I know it doesn't get talked about. We're Manchester City. We're always talked about, oh, we just buy whatever we want. Everything is said, oh, the Sheikh just gives, just throws. We don't even work that way. When Sheikh Mansour first came to the club, first thing he said, he wanted Manchester City obviously to be competitive and to be sustainable. So, and that's where we're at. The Sheikh isn't throwing money every season. The way we're able to kind of buy all these, amazing athletes, and the way we're able to run, we're talking about revenues. That's also because, which doesn't get emphasized, we have such an incredible academy that the young players that unfortunately we can't hold on to for the betterment of their careers. We can't just say stick around until you get a chance to play. Look at the talents. Look at the talent we have. Look at the players that we have from top to bottom. These players need to continue to develop. And we've sold so many great academy players, right? And academy players that are like instant impact, and academy players that are like on potential. So Manchester City, like Liverpool, are sustainable. There's no injecting of money. what we make is what we're able to use. That's how it works over here as well. Rose, my gal goes, Vader, Andrew Wright would love that to happen to Pep, but it won't. It won't. It won't. Klopp was too emotional and Slot ruthless. Better tactics and tries different things. It's true. I think Klopp also got to the point where he's like, I know, like for him, he knows what works and what doesn't, and he's not going to try something that didn't work in a different way. You know those people, sometimes like they're quick to tell you, oh, I tried that, it didn't work. But you can try something with a different twist, or you can try something, but because of the timing, it then makes sense. It then works, right? And I think Klopp was just, the experience was like, he was done. He was done. Like literally when he says he was tired, I think he was tired of trying new things. Rose was talking about Arteta and Arsenal. Can't stand them. Yeah, Arsenal make it incredibly difficult because of their fan base. 100% because of their fan base. LFC, what it do in the building? He goes, big up Vader, hope all is well. All is well. Thanks for being a part of the show. Dropping a comment, hit that like button if you haven't. Only ask because when you lose 3 titles, how can you keep going? But that's just it. How do I put this? Everyone has their difficulties. Everyone has attempted to win. But Andrew, the thing is, everyone doesn't continue attempting after losses. And I think it's for Arteta to always go and push the players and himself to try and win. If the club ever decides he's not that guy, it's for them to say quits. But you can't be so close to winning and then turning back and saying that's it. Paul goes, I have a feeling this will be a tough season for Doku and Savino. With Shirky, Foden, and Marmoush, not much minutes for wingers in Pep's new system. You know what, Paul? I think I'm going to say this. I don't think we're going to see much of Doku and Savino at the same time. That, in my humble opinion, I think we're going to see one or the other. So Pep's going to go Doku, and maybe he'll go Shirky. And then I did like how he had Foden central, right? He had Foden central. If we're going to be like, more of a traditional midfield. But if I were to guess on my best 11 right now, it's going to be, and I'll just do midfield midfield. I won't do the entire 11. But I'll go Rodri at the 6. I do like those extra legs with Reinders. So we can go, so we already got the back 4, that's the defense. We go 2 in the pivot. And then if we were to go Doku, would this be too offensive? If we go Doku, Foden, Shirky, and Haaland up top, I think that would work. And the reason why I like that is because if the game isn't flowing the way we want it, we got the subs to make a difference, right? We got the addition of Marmoush if we're not getting enough from Haaland in terms of maybe pressing or something like that. We've got the possibility of also bringing on, again, if we were to bring on we got Gundogan to bring on. We got Nico Gonzalez to bring on. We got Savino to bring on. We got Oscar Bot to bring on. There's a lot. There's a lot to do. I'm excited to actually see this next Club World Cup game as well. Andrew asked me, just feel Liverpool and City have left. Could it be like it's us 2 and then the rest are kind of like battling it out and, there's some. But again, I would not count out Chelsea. I would not count out Arsenal. And if we were to get into like really great detail with regards to the fixture list and where that falls, because I was talking about this in the group chat with regards to pitch points, Gundelorian, I was like, the fixture list is great, right? The fixture list is great. Maybe I can look to put that back on screen. So I'm all happy with that. But what we also have to keep in mind is, let's put this. All right. I gotta adjust it. But what we also have to keep in mind is this fixture list up against the Champions League and domestic cups, right? Because then you have teams that are looking, they're looking ahead. Maybe players naturally are like, okay, what's the next game I got to be prepared for, right? So when you have players that might have their eyes set on Champions League versus a domestic game, that's where it gets really tricky. But I think as of now, it will be City and Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal in that mix. Do you consider Mateus Nunes a failed signing? I don't. Nah, Calvin Phillips was a failed signing. Mateus Nunes isn't playing for the purpose on why he was signed. I don't believe that he was signed to be playing out at left wing or playing at right back. But I also want to put this myth to bed. Pep doesn't say these are the players I want exactly. It's not us going out and only getting Pep players. I think there's a profile. I think there's a series of players, and whether it's Pep being like, "Oh yeah, Mateus Nunes, yeah, Marmouche. Oh, I'm somewhat familiar. I see how they play, or this is the profile that the club brings to him. Yeah, I can work." He says, "Yeah, I can work with them." How they end up working because of circumstance, because of how players are and how they link up together, how they actually finally play together. He's then going to make the best of it. But this player was only green lighted to come to the club because Pep said yes. Some are club signings, and I think Mateus Nunes is one of them. I'm not willing to say that he's a failed signing, but I will say that for how he played prior to coming to us, he hasn't elevated that. He hasn't shown that. But he's delivered for us. He delivered for us. I think for the Club World Cup was when he played well for us. Obviously, he delivered for us the end of the season last year, playing out of position. So he's done more than what Calvin Phillips has done. LFC goes, Vader, Klopp is too much loyal. Yeah, he's too loyal to his players. In some seasons, FSG didn't give him enough tools. But this is where it's tricky. Like, they didn't give him the tools, or was he like, I don't need these, I don't want these, like, so because it's such a transformation. It's so drastic. It is so drastic to what they're doing this season, and maybe it's also because they couldn't go another season without spending. But it's one thing to spend, it's another thing to spend how they're spending, right? But I hear you. With Slot, he is straightforward, and he will change if the plans are not working. Yep, I remember that early season. He was making a lot of second half changes and adjustments. He was really good with that one. All right, let's tackle this last one. And hopefully you guys can agree. If you don't, we'll have the conversation. I don't mind it. I don't got that kind of ego, so we can do it. All right, we're starting the clock on this bad boy. Arsenal. See everybody in the mix. Good looking out. I see. Man comes into the chat, says big up, and then also says absolute fraud. Wild. Arteta. Arsenal. They are dangerous because of this. If no one is talking about them being in the mix for the Prem, if no one's talking about them being in like being in the semis of Champions League, if no one's talking about them as really being up there, we got issues. We got issues because when there is no threat, Arsenal are a problem. They are an absolute problem. Oh, I got a call. All right. If Arsenal have no expectations, they're going to be in the mix. Right now, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. If it's like, oh, this is Liverpool and City's title to lose, no one's looking after Arsenal, they are going to be a problem. I'm telling you right now. There's no doubt about it. Expect Arsenal to be in the hiccups, causing issues, catching consecutive wins. I hate under the radar Arsenal. You guys remember the madness that they did 3 seasons ago? Right? 3 seasons ago, we happened to give them Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko. And the season prior to that, they had finished fifth, right? No big drama. I got a my apologies. Yikes. My apologies. When you do this in the middle For me, it's in the middle of the day. I got to tackle a few things. So thank you so much for being patient and being in the mix. Where was I with regards to? So I was saying Arsenal with no expectations are going to be a danger. I don't think that we can ignore them because they have been in the mix like that. And if we think last season, the injury woes that they had, let's be honest, guys, they're not that far out of the mix if it weren't for those injuries. And I don't think Arteta manages that type of season again. Whether they're going to be in late competitions for the League Cup or the FA Cup, who knows? But I think with regards to the league, they're going to be a problem. Andrew says they let best midfielder go. Wait, who's this? Sorry, I missed this one. I missed that one. LFC goes, Vader, Arsenal will be there, but their main problem is experience and too emotional. Yeah, I agree with you on the emotional standpoint, emotional and their mental state, but they don't do enough. But see, this is it. Right now, they're not doing enough. But the previous seasons, again, it's difficult because if healthy, yes, they kind of done enough. And one could say, did we not do enough or did we do enough? But when not healthy, we kind of fell off. If no one expects Arsenal to be in the mix, they're going to be an issue. That's it. You'll see. You guys will see it. And we've seen it. Look when everyone wrote off Arsenal, that's when they went back on their winning ways, right? That's when they were catching those wins. And when we wrote them off, they should have been getting results when Liverpool were dropping points. But this season, everything's going to be focused on Liverpool going back to back, how they've invested, Wirtz, the possible Isak, but even if it's not Isak, look at what they did with Kirkez and Frank Pong. That is going to be so much drama and attention. Arsenal are going to skate through. They're going to skate through. And obviously there's going to be the questions, like I think Andrew brought it up, but maybe it might have been Paul, but look at Pep having not won the season last year, and he's never not won a season after losing a season. Those talking points. Arsenal are skating. Oh, Partey, I got you. Partey's out. I don't get the Arsenal love. Liverpool, City, and Chelsea have better squads. It's true, but the Arsenal do very good promo. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is. Andrew, last year there was 9 points. Yeah, they were Liverpool before with full squad. Remember, bottled 11 leads out of the 13. That is not good. True. They were very close to you guys. They should have at least kept the pressure on when you guys were kind of like in vacation mode as well. But that was last season. I think when we talk about the experience, when we talk about the emotional state, it's the internal pressure, the individual pressure. Arteta is going to be feeling that. Arteta himself, not publicly, not league or anything like that. He knows that he's on thin ice because there is that expectation to win, even if he were to finish top 4 and there was no quote unquote pressure from the club. But there's the like, I got to get this done. Arteta and Arsenal, Slot, Liverpool, Pep, Manchester City. Those are going to be the focal points, but it's going to be all attention on us and Liverpool. Arsenal are going to sneak. They're going to sneak into the mix. Arsenal are Saka in corners. They thought that was enough. True, but they're whispered to. I mean, I know. If they get the players to improve on what they had last year, I'm not talking about like X factor players. I'm not talking about marquee players. I'm not talking about level raisers. Any of that. If all they do is improve on the lacking, right, on the players that they had to lean on last season, if they just improve on those, they're already better. And how they play, how Arteta's shown, he's like, listen, you guys are going to have to do your best to try to break us down. And to be able to, like, and I know we joke, but for them to kind of score consistently or put enough pressure with regards to these corners, they're going to be an issue. I want to say this. This like button is free. I hope y'all hit it. This show and its format, why always me? I'm going to do my best to present this once a week, and I'm gonna find my times. I'm gonna find my days, just so it's locked and loaded. I know again how I can work things out, work things out with family. They know no calls during this time. I'm doing my thing, and thank you all for being so patient. And I was doing that, and maybe I'll do my best to maybe go back and edit it. So if anybody's watching it, you don't get that little break with me being on the phone. But I want to be consistent with my Why Always Me. It's one of my favorite shows. I want to be consistent with CIA, where I got other city fans on here, and we kind of break things down. Rivals may not like it because we kind of set some agendas that we're going to have against you guys. And then the 115, I can tackle a combined 11 that was brought up on this show. I want to tackle a few other things that are happening within the sport. And the 115 is sweet because it's one question, 15 minutes. So blessed to each and every one of you. I see this comment from Paul. Paul goes, but Vader, City and Liverpool are not standing still. Arsenal is not good. They aren't. They are. Arsenal aren't standing still either. Obviously, they're not moving as quickly as us. But Paul, one could argue that Liverpool stood still last year, right? They brought in a manager. Yes, change. They bought Chiesa. But other than that, it was like, okay, they were like, improve on what you have. Liverpool were like, improve on what we have and then move forward. If Arsenal aren't moving as quickly as that, but are improving, I think that's how they stay in the mix. And then maybe they don't have every year where they spend big, because you can't buy a record signing like Rice every year. But if they just improve on where they're lacking, I think that's where it's at. I think that's where it's at. But listen, each and every one of you in the mix, being a part of the show, dropping a comment. And again, what I like to do and what I hope to do is do the show as often as I can. At the very least, I'm doing Why Always Me once a week, CIA once a week, and 115, one question, 15 minutes once a week. So I want to thank each and every one of you. Whoa, Paul, is that real? Chelsea losing 3-1. Nah, don't do that. Don't do that. I don't have it on. I'm recording the game. I don't have it on. 3-1. How much time? Paul, tell me how much time's left. How much time's left? I'm gonna wait. Wait, that game must have just started. No, halftime. Are they at half? Is the game at half? I don't want to look anything up because I don't want my 7 minutes left or 7 minutes in. What? Paul, you're killing me. Guys, nah, this guy Jackson Red. 7 minutes left. Oh, this is gonna be a wild one. So, guys, I'm gonna be over on Egal's channel. We're gonna do. I think he's doing a 506. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna be over on Egal's channel. If he has the Chelsea fan that I think he's gonna have, is yo, 7 minutes left. Jackson Red card. Damn. He goes, we lost to them. We lost to that team in the 79, I think, Club World Cup final. Yo, that is crazy. That's crazy. 84 minutes. So here's the thing. Let me share something with you. Let me share something with you. So I'm not very superstitious. I don't do things out of superstition, but I like to stay with the flow of things. So because I wasn't watching the game and the game's 3-1, I cannot tune into the game. You get me? The result that's funny that I want is the 3-1 or that. So I can't tune in to it. I can't tune into it because then I'm changing how things are, right? So do I stay here until the game? How many minutes are left? This is wild. All right. Thank each and every one of you. I won't keep you guys any longer just being on the show while we wait for this game to end. But good looking out. Paul, thank you so very much for that information. Andrew in the building. Everybody that was a part of the show in the comments, always appreciate it. And you hit that like button. I will be back. I will be back with future shows. I'm Vader Games. This is Vader Games TV. This was the newest episode of Why Always Me, episode 118. and we talked about the 2025-2026 season. This is going to be a great challenge. It's going to be a great challenge because it's us and it's Chelsea playing the Club World Cup, and we have all the other competitions to play for, and the teams that we're really challenging against. The team that I'm most worried about is Liverpool and Arsenal, and they're not in the Club World Cup. They are chilling. They got their feet up. They're strengthening. They're just waiting for the season to kick off, and that's advantage to them. 85th minute, Rose. Good looking out. I am gonna shut down. I will not be watching anything until. Actually, I'm not gonna watch anything until I tune in and jump on the stream with Igal later on and shoot in about 11 minutes. So blessed to each and every one of you. Thank you for the like. Thank you for the comments, and thank you for the support. I'm Bitter Games, and I am out. Let me go out with a little bit of blessed each and every one of you.